What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking care of a couple new components that we got to get installed. We got a new power steering pump. We also got a brand new steering rack. I'll show you guys those components right here on the floor. So that's the power steering rack right here. The power steering pump is in there. This is for a 318 IS model. The power steering pump we have free access to. We're doing a job on the alternator. So meanwhile we have all this ripped apart and no serpentine belt in the way. I figured what better chance than now to go ahead and take care of a lot of this stuff. So first things first, we're gonna have to empty out the reservoir of all fluid. I have a turkey baster thing, not turkey baster. It's like a syringe to take out all the fluid first, and then start disconnecting a couple lines underneath and start working on the steering piece that's right here. It's called a U-joint that joins like the whole steering column. You could kind of see the bolt that's sticking out right here. You guys will get better view from underneath. For now, we're gonna go ahead and get this reservoir fluid out. Go ahead, take off this lid. Now I have this empty oil can.
I'm gonna just put some in.
Wow, this fluid is so dirty. Who knows how long it's been like that. As far as I know, the main things that hold it on, I gotta remove the pulley first, and then I can access these bolts in the back. And I think what I'm gonna do, I don't have anything that can hold this pulley while I break these bolts loose. So what I'm gonna do is put this on my drill and crack it loose from underneath. So actually, that's not that horrible. If I remember correctly, these get torqued to 9 foot-pounds of torque. Really, I'm just pulling against the pulley towards me. So grabbing it from the back and pulling forward towards the front of the car, and that's seemingly holding it in place while I break it loose. All right, so there's the 3 bolts for the pulley. Now this should just come forward. It was a little stuck, but with a little bit of play, came off. Those are the 3 bolts, 13 millimeter. Now I have access to the 2 bolts. I'm gonna stop messing with the power steering pump for now, because the first thing that we gotta do is disconnect the lines from the power steering pump. First, I'm gonna take care of the rack. For the banjo bolts, which are right here, those 2. So the top one's a 19 millimeter bolt, and this bottom one is a 22 millimeter bolt. Gotta break both of those loose. I have that drip tray underneath, so whatever excess fluid comes rushing out, we can catch, hopefully. All right. So the thing that fell was a washer, and then this is called a banjo bolt. It has a hole through it that allows fluid to run through. So again, same thing. This one, crush washer is still on it. So now with those lines attached, I could go ahead and start messing with this bolt right here. That's what's holding that whole steering column. It is recommended, you got to make sure you know your wheels are straight as possible. And after, we can do the tie rod ends and unbolt the full steering rack from down there. Alrighty, and the bolt to this bracket right here, it's gonna be a 10 millimeter bolt. That's the steering shaft that goes to the rack. This right here is the U-joint. So you gotta remove this bolt right here, and then you take a flathead screwdriver, stick it in here, and you could pry it just a hair, enough to be able to wiggle this out. So I'm just gonna remove the bolt and pry that a little bit, and I'll leave it alone. Then I'll move on to these bolts right here, and then we should be able to just pop these 2 bolts off, and it should come down. So this is a 13 millimeter. And these ones are 17 millimeter. So I got one nut off. I just broke it loose with that big bar, and then just ratcheted away with the small one. That way I have some space. Alrighty guys, so last ones to loosen. Alright, so these are 15 millimeter bolts. Is there a locking nut on the back as well? So there is a locking nut that's also 15 millimeters on the back side. So I got the steering rack out. Now with that removed, we could go ahead, clean up as much crud and crap as we possibly can from here. It's really nasty working in all this stuff, and it also stinks. Like, this stuff has been caked on for years, man. I'm gonna go ahead and start removing probably these banjo bolts from the power steering pump, because that's gonna be next to remove, and then get the new steering rack assembled with the new outer tie rods. And then we'll see if we're able to use our new power steering lines from Chase Base. It was meant for an E30, as far as I know. The M42 and the E30 share the exact same motor, power steering setup, and rack. The only thing that changes is the pump, I believe. So the angle to the pump is going to be a little funky, but it looks like it has plenty of space to kind of like mess with. So I'm going to send it on that and see if I'm able to get everything to line up and work at least. There's also a steering rack cooler that I'm going to put on it as well. I don't plan on drifting anytime soon, but if I ever do choose to take it to the track, it'll be a nice little feature. It's only a couple extra bucks to throw it in with the kit. So I'm pretty stoked on that. But let me get this cleaned up, and then we'll go ahead and start taking off the power steering pump. Alrighty guys, so I went ahead and removed the line that goes from the power steering reservoir to the power steering pump. It's this one. It's another 22 millimeter bolt. Next I'm going to do these two lines up here.
So we'll hit them, that way we can pull the full reservoir out. Oops.
And then this should just pull on out of there. Next, I'm going to go ahead and bust off the two bolts from the power steering pump. It's this one and this one. Yep, size 13. High pressure line that goes to the rack. It bends over the motor mount back that way. But here it is. See, kind of like U-bend. It helps to have the serpentine belt out of the way, and then the tensioner's normally right here, but that busted in our last video, so it's actually helping a lot. So removing that tensioner is not difficult by any means. It's held on by two bolts, so I would remove it if I were you, if you were doing this job. It definitely makes it a lot easier, and the repair manual from BMW themselves actually says other components may have to be removed for ease of access, and that's definitely a highly recommended piece that I suggest you do. So there you guys have it. Just so you guys know, the way all this stuff is put back on is literally in the reverse form that we took everything off. Obviously, I'll leave torque specs down in the description below, but this is for my application, 95 BMW 318iS with the M42 B18. That's the 1.8 four-cylinder. There's also the M44 B19, which is a 1.9. I don't know if that lines up exactly or if the power steering pump is exactly the same, but this is definitely a general idea of how to get it all done. It's fairly simple. Something I did want to note that I totally missed in the full video. So whenever you remove banjo bolts, there's crush washers that go in between them. I'll throw a picture up on the screen for you guys. It's supposed to be, so banjo bolt, crush washer, then the line, and then a crush washer behind the line. You guys will see the picture of it here on the screen, and just keep that in mind whenever you do it. Either go to your local BMW dealership or find a crush washer that's the exact same, preferably one that's OEM replacement, obviously, so you get the best fitment and the best quality. So definitely get those banjo bolt crush washers replaced. They're highly essential, otherwise you're going to have leaking everywhere. So I did replace those off camera on mine. Now I did end up not explaining really or showing how to put everything back, because of the matter of fact I used aftermarket components. Aside from the power steering rack, that's an OEM replacement, the power steering pump as well. But the reservoir, the lines, all of that stuff is AN fitted by Chase Base, and it was an E30 kit. It's for a E30, not the E36 chassis, which I did it on. So I retrofitted a couple of pieces. I reused my high pressure power steering fluid line for the power steering pump to the rack. I reused the OEM one. I just cleaned it up, put new crush washers on it, and we're good to go. So I made it work. However, that application is not made for that car. I just made it and retrofitted it to mine, and it was very similar. Everything really fit to the rack and all that, because the racks seem to be the same from the E30s all the way up to the E46s. The only thing that changes is the turning ratio. So one's like, 3 full turns, then you fully lock. For the E36, I think it's like 2.5, and then for the E46, it's like 2.25, like 2 turns full, and then it locks out. But anyway, that's besides the point. Pretty much, I just used AM fitted lines, not OEM stuff, but I wanted to leave this video out there for the people who are going to be redoing this with OEM components. Just remember, replace your banjo bolt crush washers and just do it all in reverse order of how we took it off, and it makes it a lot easier. And use all the torque specs down low too. Like I said, that's for my specific car. I'm not 100% sure if your guys' is a little bit different. I'll throw in the link again for a repair manual that I like to use. It's direct from BMW that they supply to their customers. It's really awesome. Only 40 bucks. It'll save you a headache and a lot of time, and just having to do work twice, and busting bolts if you over tighten, stuff like that. So definitely highly essential, highly recommended. But obviously, if you guys want to go whatever route you choose, or just a couple hand tightens, I've been there too. I'm guilty of it, so I get it. Do as you wish. It's your car, guys. I personally like to do things the right way and torque everything to spec wherever possible. Aside from that, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Please leave a like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Look forward to more videos in the very near future. I try to post every 3 to 6 days. It just depends on how busy my schedule is and how creative the videos I can get with, or how many videos I'm able to pump out for you guys. Pretty much videos will sit halfway done, and then I'll have to wait on parts or whatever it is to finish the other half and then pump them out for you guys. But I still try to keep consistent uploads for y'all, just so you guys stay entertained, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the videos as much as I am making them. Again, thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Till then, keep it true. It's been real, guys. Peace.